Do about 20 seconds each, and just tell me as much as you can or as much as you know about GMOs. And for as long as the timer is going, we'll do like 20 seconds. Just name as many things as you can that you know about GMOs.
Oh, so like what we know about them?
Yeah, it could be pretty much like what they stand for, anything that you know pretty much. You ready?
I know it stands for genetically modified organism.
I know genetically modified something.
Okay.
Genetically modified organisms.
Okay.
Genetically modified organisms.
Okay.
I know that over the past 5 years it's increased by 82% as far as what we're developing. I know that there's a tomato that has been tested with a fish with a gene.
Ooh, yeah,
I also
water.
know that there's rice that's being enhanced with beta carotene for better vitamin C.
5 seconds.
I also know that there's apples that can withstand on a ship for 3 months because you can reduce oxidization.
With the development of genetically modified foods, it's now possible to create crops that are easy to farm, food that's more nutrient dense, and we're able to eliminate even more food waste. So fewer pesticides are needed because Bt crops are coming to light. It means like less pesticide runoff is going into the rivers and just less pesticides are being used in general.
So there's salmon that are given GMOs, there's like berries and fruits, and there's all sorts of different organisms.
There's a lot of negative press about it.
Okay.
A lot of people don't like GMOs. But
Okay.
I find it interesting to go back to like the Green Revolution about how many how many lives GMOs actually saved.
Also, drought-resistant crops are being developed, which means we can use less water, which means we'll be able to have more crops.
When I asked both Chef Mike Smith and Mr. Anthony about how they felt about GMOs, they basically said about the same thing. They're two sides of the same coin, there's two sides to the argument for the GMOs. There's the good and the bad with just about anything.
There's just because in your opinion it might be better or over choosing something in biodynamic farming or local farming, or is it just that you have more options with the GMOs than you do with the other options?
So we are not specific in our specs as our choices for GMO versus non-GMO product. Our spec is the best quality product at any given time. So typically our purveyors will give us what they have in-house that's the best quality product at that time.
I decided to go to the food processing manager and the food business manager for the egg to figure out what we use on campus for GMOs and stuff like that. It's pretty interesting basis about it. As you'll see in the video, that with the food processing manager, we vary depending on what's the best quality for the product that we want or need. With Chef Mike Smith, what we had was most of our food comes from a Compass Group. It's a British multinational contract food service company, and it's actually the largest food service company in the world. The Compass Group has operations in about 50 different countries, employs over 500,000 people, and serves around about 5.5 billion meals a year.
Genetic engineering can also help eliminate crop extinction, like the Hawaiian rainbow papaya, which was saved by genetic engineering when a deadly virus came and threatened to wipe out the entire population. They were able to save it through genetic engineering. Soybean plants are now being modified so they don't have as many trans fats and they're higher in omega-3 content, just to increase everybody's health overall, as soybean oil is now being used in a lot more products. Uganda is also in the works of producing bananas with about 6 times as much vitamin A. And then the Golden Rice Project is a project where they're developing rice that's able to produce and accumulate vitamin A. And since rice feeds up to 50% of our population, it's really important to increase everybody's vitamin A, since a lot of people are deficient and it can be deadly.
With just in a couple years, people have asked for more local or sustainable food vendors, because not only does Chef Mike Smith focus on food for the egg or for the other kitchens as well, what they also focus on is food for the classroom, products for the classroom. So when we go and ask about questions like this, he finds it interesting because we are the next people to take over the industry or work in the industry or just even dine in the industry.
The only things we typically do spec as far as organic, non-GMO, we're doing all bananas now and all of our berries. And there's no specific reason why we do that. There is a premium cost to those products, but we leverage those products because those products are donated through marketing campaigns through Driscoll's Berries. So they donate all of our berries through the year, so we maximize that donation by requesting organic product. Same thing with Andy Boy Romaine Hearts. Diarigo Brothers, who owns Andy Boy, donates all the Romaine Hearts we use, so we expect organic. So since we're not paying for those, we take advantage of that non-GMO product. We do more non-GMO products through our local program, which we're doing with Farms to Table, and that's a web-based application that she basically coordinates with 50 plus different farms to get their product to us or to any of the customers that they deal with. So it's opened up the door for us to deal with more farms because a lot of these guys had minimums or didn't want to come here for a bunch of this and a bunch of that. So she became the middleman, and she's coordinating deliveries and picking up products from the farm. So she actually has on her web-based application by farm what their farming practice is, whether it's biodynamic, non-GMO, organic, practicing organic.
Potatoes are being engineered to be resistant to bruising, so we can eliminate a lot more food waste when shipping and handling. Anti-browning apples are also now coming to market to increase food waste to decrease food waste in the kitchen, so people aren't throwing their apples away when it gets browned. But you know, that's just the beginning of what genetically modified foods can do. They're in the process of working on a hypoallergenic peanut. They're separating the proteins from the IgE antibodies, in effect, to create a peanut that won't, you know, kill kids.
It's a huge selling point, in my opinion. I mean, you slap no GMOs on like a package, and people instantly flock towards it, like, oh my god, no GMOs. That means it's healthy. But in reality, you know, it's not. It's just like a different way of like producing, like farming.
So pollination is required for plants to produce fruit. So bees are the main pollinators. So the bees are basically exposing themselves to all these harsh chemicals and pesticides whenever they go after strong genetically modified organisms. So not only is it affecting the bees, but it also affects other plants through cross-pollination. And basically, in a sense, it contaminates other plants. So if you have one genetically modified plant that a bee pollinates and then goes to another plant, which is an organic non-GMO plant, and it pollinates that plant, then that plant is now, in a way, contaminated.
FDA scientists have repeatedly warned that genetically modified foods can create unpredictable and hard to detect side effects, including allergies, toxins, new diseases, and nutritional problems. Monsanto's Roundup Ready corn has higher levels of a chemical and cadaver not only linked to cancer and allergies, they also produce a foul smell of rotting dead bodies.
Probably not environmental friendly.
One other main point is that over time, different species of plants adapt to the ever-changing world. So as they adapt to different pesticides and chemicals, they build up kind of like a tolerance for them. So then farmers have to use stronger pesticides, chemicals, all that stuff in order to keep away the insects, and that can really affect everyone. Whether it's us that's consuming it or other animals, it's not good for overall health. So basically it's like a mutating virus. So as new chemicals are added to the plants and they you get these new chemicals and this new resistance to certain insects, then it's changing the plant. So then it basically changed the whole system around the outside of this one plant because of those GMOs and pesticides and chemicals.
Being allergic to GMOs can include infertility problems, immune problems, accelerated aging, and faulty insulin regulation. For some people, like my aunt, she is allergic to genetically modified food, or else when she eats them, she gets very sick and she has migraines and can be rushed to the hospital for seizures and things like that. The U.S. Drug Administration does not require the labeling of foods that are genetically modified. So if you eat them and no one will ever know, they don't say on the packaging, no one knows. So if you eat them, you're automatically subject to these consequences.
Outside of the kitchen, what is your personal opinion, not as just a supplier for the school, what is your personal opinion on GMOs, which are now trying to be transferred into GMAs and GMPs because GMO can be such a broad spectrum?
I'm for it. I mean, personally, I prefer it more in dairy and proteins to see non-GMO and hormones and stuff like that. I think it makes a bigger impact. GMOs came about as a way to feed the population without having to deal with diseases. So they're good and they're bad. The problem is now it's very difficult with some things to find non-GMO varieties. That's kind of the way things are going. You know, you have the new food movement of people that want to eat healthy, ancient grains and heirloom grain seeds that they're planting for these products. So we're seeing a resurgence of these products, and I think it's all for the better.
Personally, I'm not for or against GMOs. I think that in a way it does help a lot of civilizations that aren't so fortunate and need food because of like drought and like scarcity of resources, famine, stuff like that. But besides that, I think we have to kind of take it easy on chemicals, pesticides, stuff like that because of the intolerance that people are starting to build up because of it. That's basically just my general opinion.
And there's all sorts of different things that shouldn't be happening. I'm not a big fan of them.
With my opinion, GMOs can be a productive resource for us. It's just we have to learn more about them, research more about them, and try not to cut corners with food because we're going to be eating it and it's going to be not only for us but for our future generations.
So your opinion is you don't really like them too much?
I think the food that you grow shouldn't have anything or anything that you are putting into to make it larger than what it should be.
Okay.
Negative.